So I start introducing this project. As Catherine said, this is a series of pilots called large-scale pilots that the European Commission has funded since 2017, some 4 years ago, more or less. And the first pilot, the first project was the active age large-scale pilot that also I was involved in the coordination. I say I was because yesterday we officially finalized the project. And that pilot is the first series of pilots that where the European Commission asked to deploy IoT-based solution for creating smart living environments for aging well. In the Active Age project, we have deployed solutions that are more related with social care in 12 places all over Europe, involving 8,000 end users, whether they were senior citizen or informal and formal caregiver. Now, after this series of projects, there was a new series of large-scale pilot where they wanted us to deploy solutions that are really related with the keynote speech, the great keynote speech that we hear before, because it's about using data, big data, for early detection and innovative treatment for chronic diseases and for other conditions that are affecting aging. So this will be a project, this is the Gatekeeper project, that basically will go from mysticism to the most advanced data-driven decision taking. So this is the Gatekeeper project, and it's another series of large-scale pilot. And this time, as you are going to see in the slide, we are going to involve 40,000 people all over Europe. Sorry. And I'm going to the office so I can also share my screen in 1 minute. Okay, great. So we see now the slide. Thanks a lot, Catherine.
I managed to, yeah. Thank you, Giuseppe, for being so wonderful. All right, so.
Yeah. So if you go to next slide, okay, this is the project. It's basically in this slide, you can see the vision of the project. As you can see, we are going to involve 40,000 people all over Europe and also in Asia. And this project is actually between 2 decades. So the European Commission in 2020 fostered innovation for creating the digital single market. And now in 2030, we want to move a step forward toward a sustainable Europe. So that is where the project belongs. And the Gatekeeper is about a platform that will allow to enable valuable data exchange between the healthcare professional and the healthcare system perspective, which is on the last part of this representation, and what we called the consumer space. So with this, we mean that we want to gather data that are not only taken from people when they are patients, so from the healthcare systems, but also on the other 364 days when they do not have visits. Many times in chronic diseases, you have 2 visits per year. So this project is about enabling data exchange under the paradigm of value-based healthcare, which means to create valuable exchange of data that are linked to outcomes, as we also heard before. If you go to the next slide, yeah, this is exactly what I said. It's because the project is about creating trust between different stakeholders based on data exchange. Now, if we go to the next slide, let's give you some information about the platform. So the platform, in order to enable data exchange, the platform is built on several key elements. First, and most important maybe, is the data model that we are building. And this based on HL7 Fire in order to enable fast interoperability as HL7 Fire, as you all know, is achieving all over the world, basically. But then we are also linking this data model and standards with other key elements. One is Web of Things produced by the W3C, and that will enable interoperability between the healthcare domain with all the other domains that are relevant for the consumers. And then it's built on trust. So through blockchain, we are enabling the creation of a certification authority to basically make sure that the data that is exchanged is secure, is respecting all the values that are relevant for the stakeholders. May this be the patients, but also SMEs and industries that exchange data. So it is very important to define this certification authority that is based on existing solutions that are already spread all over the world, like for instance, the Blue Button. Now, value-based care is the paradigm that we are following for this project. And as you can see in this presentation, this slide, we are using key enabling technology, robotics, as you have seen before, wearables, and other type of solutions to create this data exchange. From a business perspective, the project is very business-driven. We are enabling this data exchange for 3 types of businesses: for government, for consumers, and business to business. Next, please. Next. So one important element is to define all the stakeholders that are important and to enable this data exchange for the remit of the project. Next. Next, so I can go to the next part. Yeah, this is very important because from a clinical perspective, and in order to reach 40,000 patients and consumers, we have enabled a regional and systemic approach. As you can see at the center, we have a stratification model that is based on existing models that are being used by regional healthcare systems. And as you can see on the right, we are using a regional approach. So we are relying on existing initiatives that have been set up in Europe, like the European Innovation Partnership on Active and Healthy Aging, and in particular the reference site network, where all the regions in Europe are collaborating together to define barriers towards innovation, how to break them. So with this regional approach, we are involving hospitals, primary care center, and all other settings that are relevant to reach all the population. And we have defined, as you can see on the left, several reference medical use cases to tackle different conditions like COPD, Parkinson, multimorbidity, and so forth. Now, from the very beginning of the project, we have also included, as you can see on the upper right, three new partners from Hong Kong, from Singapore, and from Taiwan, because of our ambition and also of the way we want to foresee our solutions. And our solution will be COVID sensitive. So we will also include indicators that are relevant for COVID and a new use case that is specific for that. From a scientific perspective, and I'm concluding, this is a multi-federated longitudinal cohort study. And if you go to the next slide, we are now, after 1 year of project, we have already defined, this is a large-scale pilot, so that's why you are seeing all these numbers. So we are ready to start our piloting activities. We are already selected the technologies, and we will also have an open innovation approach, so that through cascade funding with 1 million euros, so we will do 2 series of open calls where we are going to include the new partners like startups and new sites that will expand the solutions that we are deploying in our project. So I think that's all, and I'm really sorry for this logistic issue, but thanks a lot, Catherine. Now I'm in the office, so I can also connect with the video.